Hello and welcome all back to Election Time News Australia. Today is Monday, April 14th, 2025, and today I'll be going over the 2025 Australian federal election, going over odds on Kalshi, looking at the poll bludger as well as YouGov, looking at some quick things on The Guardian, and looking at the overall projection map. Election Time News, you're going to start for all things elections and politics, from summations to poll reviews and news. Subscribe below for all content like this about American, Canadian, and Australian politics. Remember, there's never a dull moment in politics. So, now onto the video here. We can see there we have just under 18.1 million people registered to vote in just under a month. That is about 3.5 weeks away, May 3rd. So, looking at our map here, the current standings, this is not the exact current standings, I can't figure out where the vacancies are, but we are at 77 to actually 53. There are 2 vacancies, 4 members of the Green Party, 1 member of Catter's Australian, 1 of the Centre Alliance, and 13 independents, and there are 2 vacancies. So if anyone knows where those vacancies are, that would be great and very much appreciated. So I searched through the list, but there was a lot of stuff about the Senate. So now we are going to be looking at this. This is basically completely transferred from the poll bludger, which is basically just a poll aggregate sort of thing. And so, for anyone who doesn't know, and so from here we have quite a few. First off, we have that the Labour actually did gain 1 seat out of their total from the last election, going up to 78. And the Coalition actually loses a seat, so I believe it is between those 2 that moves. And you still have 4 Greens, 1 for those 2, and then down to 9 independents. So, I'm not really sure how that math adds up, but, oh, section 58, so that would be a few dropped independents, and so from there we end up with this map here, which is mostly based off poll bludger, so we're mainly going to be going over the more competitive ones, especially the very competitive ones. All the ones that are under 5% are really the ones that are going to matter, and it's going to come down to those. First off, the more general stuff, we're looking at the support here. Of course, the Coalition has been dropping, and so that's really going to come down to how close it can get, and whether or not, Labour can actually, potentially end up winning, especially with these really recent polls right here in these few days. The last time the Coalition led in a poll looks like it was this one, which is going to be before April. So as of right now, the polls seem to be showing that the Labour Party should actually win the popular vote again. And so that is great news for them. If we look back at 2022, they did actually lose the popular vote, 35.7 to 32.58. And that was actually one of their worst performances as of recent. So that is going to really mean a lot there for the Labour Party. They're going to have to get that back. Oh, look at that. They changed the picture for Dutton. And so now, looking at Kalshi, for example, we can see Anthony Albanese just dropped down 1%. Dutton went up by 2. When I literally loaded this a few minutes ago. But we do have very high chance of Albanese being picked as Prime Minister, which is going to be with the Labour Party winning the majority there. And so with that, you can basically go off of the projected vote share here actually being just under 30% for Labour. This is going to be primary vote, and 35.5% for the Coalition, 75 for Labour, 2 for the Greens, 11 independents, 2 others, 0 for One Nation, 60 for the Coalition. But the most common outcome based on YouGov's simulated outcomes is 61.3% probability of a hung parliament. Then is Labour majority with 37.75%, Coalition majority 2%. So national two-party preferred vote. This is a great showing of the national support, removing the other parties here, 50.2 to 49.8. Very, very close right there. So it really does end up showing up how narrow this race is actually ending up being. And in their most recent MRP, the second one, they have 1 seat short of a majority, the Labour Party. So here is their map. You can see literally everything here. I believe there are a few things that are different, only a very, very scant few. And then, of course, when it comes to actually choosing who will be prime minister, it's not going to be that big of a factor. It's going to be, I think, a bit more on the actual local scale. But as for nationally, opposition leader Peter Dutton records worst ever satisfaction rating, and this is as of April 3rd. And Labour leads coalition in a poll they did 51 to 49. So this is not looking that good whatsoever for the coalition. So as of right now, they are definitely, the Labour Party is definitely poised to potentially even take a majority government, if not at least just have the plurality in the government itself. So you can see the headline voting intention, the coalition's leading by 5, but the two-party preferred lead by 2% for the Labour Party. And the net satisfaction rating, this is really what we're looking at here. Albanese is at -6, but Peter Dutton's at -15, so that's very, very poor there. Albanese is not as disliked. It's not as huge of a difference. Both of them are underwater. Neither of them have actually been in the likability rating, but preferred prime minister candidate, this is absolutely a huge sign for the Labour Party. Albanese is preferred 45 to 38, with 17% who don't know. So undecideds, they'd have to break heavily for Peter Dutton if there was some form of a prime minister election, but that's really going to end up boosting the Labour Party, especially in these really, really close races, such as, for example, Deakin and Gilmore and Menzies and Lyons and Lingiari and Robertson. So those are really going to be the ones that are going to come down to potentially the perception of the leaders of the parties, if it's not going to be as much as those small factors are really going to play a large part in the outcome. So I think it's not the most competitive is Deakin. So Deakin right here is 0.0. So this is literally the closest one that there is right now. Liberal held seat made notionally Labour, but literally made Labour by the narrowest amount. So the two candidate preferred Liberal Labour. The Liberal candidate won by 0.4%, so that's really not going to be much there. It's very, very close for quite a bit of its time. It's not, the worst time was 2016, where it jumped up to 56, looks like, so there was absolutely a jump there, but it has gotten very, very, very close, and it was 50.2 to 49.8, of course, last time, so it could absolutely be down to the wire again. It just depends on the overall national environment, and I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if there was another close result like that if, Dutton was more liked and Albanese was less liked, then that could absolutely flip something down to that close of a race here. And for example, the largest competitive race, Lingiari here, is looking pretty close as well, 1.6. So this one's looking a bit more safe, of course, but the Country Liberal Party, I believe that is the Country Liberal Party lost this one by 1.8 last time, now down to 1.6. 50.9, 49.1. So this is obviously going to be another tight one. It's going to really end up coming down to abilities of some of these candidates, especially with the leadership in those. So as of right now, the Labour Party is in a good position. They'll just need to figure out, can they hold on until election day? Can they at least hold where they're at or potentially improve more? There's quite a few battlegrounds here that are all going to be watched carefully, especially, again, as I said, Deakin, 0.02% margin. So while it is one spot, it's this close. They, as of this projection, literally have two more than they need in order to have a majority. So if they potentially end up losing even, Deakin and Menzies, that really could end up costing them a good bit. So it's going to come down to every single individual seat that they can pick up. Thank you all so much for watching the overview and a bit of individual information on the Australian election. Make sure to subscribe below for more content like this on Australian elections as well, and have a fantastic rest of your day.